If you've watched some of my TV reviews before, you may have noticed that I frequently use the scene from Pan to test 4000 nit tone mapping, since most consumer TVs have to choose between preserving highlight detail or maintaining overall brightness when rendering the sun, which has been graded up to 4000 nits. However, there's a new HDR tone mapping setting on Philips flagship OLED+959 that can help. Let me demonstrate. If we switch the setting from the default value of enhanced to off or HGiG, the sun would become blown out because the TV would hard clip at its panel peak luminance. Changing to the static setting would recover more highlight detail due to the introduction of a roll-off to the PQ-EOTF curve. But if we go back to the default setting of enhanced, this would activate the newly implemented dynamic tone mapping function on the Philips 959, which analyzes and adjusts the tone mapping on a frame-by-frame basis to retain even more specular highlight detail without compromising overall brightness levels. This is just one of several new features implemented on the OLED+959 when I visited Philips TV's R&D center in Ghent, Belgium, to get an exclusive briefing on the company's 2024 flagship TV with second-generation MLA Plus OLED panel, a twin-chip version of the 8th Gen P5 AI processing engine, 5.1.2 Bowers Wilkins integrated sound system, as well as upgraded Ambilight Plus bias lighting technology. I was given a glimpse of the new AI sports optimization mode, which would automatically switch motion settings to apply frame interpolation for a smoother result when 25p or 30p football content is detected, for example through casting. Poking in the user menu, I also discovered that pixel shifting can now be disabled on the OLED+959, something that wasn't possible on older Philips OLEDs. In other words, you will no longer see one side of the bezel being thicker than the other. Of course, those of you who don't mind this phenomenon should probably leave pixel shifting enabled to reduce the risk of OLED burn-in. On a semi-related note, there's a new, more colorful screensaver to complement the debut of Philips' new ultra-sophisticated Ambilight Plus system that adds multiple lenses to the individual rear-mounted color LEDs, creating a more dynamic, larger overall halo with higher resolution. For gaming, the Philips OLED+959 provides a revamped game bar filled with useful nuggets. The HDMI bandwidth of the video source is now clearly displayed, allowing you to easily see that the Sony PS5 is limited to an HDMI 2.1 bandwidth of 32 gigabits per second. There's also information about resolution, bit depth, chroma subsampling, and dynamic range format. Moreover, by clicking on the settings icon at the far left of the game bar, you can quickly adjust various gaming-related parameters, such as various game profiles, a frame rate indicator overlay whose position you can change on screen so you can keep an eye on the frame rate during gameplay, different HDR tone mapping settings, the Ambilight style, not to mention the sound preset when playing games. Moreover, the new game bar offers quick access to several gaming enhancement features available on the OLED+959, including an additional crosshair aid whose shape, size, thickness, color, and transparency you can customize, as well as a zoom function that would magnify the center of the screen to help you noobs aim better. Shadow Enhancer would brighten near black gamma to help you see enemies lurking in the dark at the expense of overall image depth. Edge Enhancer outlines the edges of specific objects within the game, whereas Color Filter limits the range of colors displayed on screen, including the option to select a single color or to exclude a color for more stylized or focused gameplay. Of course, in spite of all these features, what hardcore gamers like you really want to know is the TV's latency. An input lag measured 14.5 milliseconds at 60 frames per second on the Philips OLED+959 and 6.5 milliseconds at 120 FPS, which should be responsive enough for most gamers. Furthermore, when playing non-VRR games at 60 FPS or lower frame rates, The Philips 959 allows you to engage motion interpolation while capping input lag to a maximum of 33 milliseconds, delivering smoother motion in 30 frames per second games without increasing latency substantially. Although note that as with all MEMC algorithms, you may see some interpolation artifacts from time to time. Now, coming back to the HDR tone mapping setting, one of these options is the best for achieving the most impactful HDR presentation when playing HDR games. To find out which one it is and the science behind it, please watch my explanation video by clicking here.